Hey guys, we're at it again today. If I sound tired, it's because I am. I've been up since like 1 and it's now 6, so I figured why not come on here and edit this. Get some work done, I guess, since you're not sleeping. I usually don't have a problem sleeping, but recently that's not been the case. We're making a lightning bolt ring today. I do have another ring that's pretty similar to this. The customer wanted a different ring, and then she decided she wanted to upgrade it and do some beadwork. So we decided to just make a whole new ring, and that other ring will be available on my website. Here I'm just taking off some of the backing of the ring, of the stone that I had glued onto something else. I'm just taking a little sanding disc and sanding that off so it doesn't show through. The stone is pretty see-through. So, yeah, just getting that off basically. My roosters will not stop crowing. Non-stop. If anyone wants a rooster, let me know. Alright. So now we're just taking that bezel wire and wrapping it around the stone. I was on the phone with one of my friends, so I before I started the live and started it, and I was like, oh, I should probably wait. So that's why I did half of it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go live and do the rest of it. This is a live recording that I just downloaded, and I figured out how to do that, so that's nice. It takes forever to download, so I might still record them. Yeah, my dog keeps clawing my wall. So hopefully you guys aren't hearing that. I told her to stop, but she's mad at me for talking, I think. She's trying to tell me to stop, I think. She's doing the big sigh, like that kind of stuff. So really we're just bending that wire around the stone, marking it, and then we'll cut it. Also, you guys are so freaking kind and sweet. I've been getting so many comments under the videos saying that you guys love them. And I'm so happy to hear that they are helping you guys and that you guys are learning a lot from them. I cut some nonsense out of me looking around for stuff. Another rooster. I have a pond across the street from my house, and people drop them off there, and then they wander over to my house. I'm like, can you not? Or just snipping the wire there, the bezel wire, to make sure that it matches up, because the solder is not going to flow if it doesn't match up correctly. Definitely could have cut more out. Making sure that matches up right there. I try to cut stuff out so it doesn't waste your guys' time. So you're not watching something that you don't need to watch. I'm just annealing it right there, heating it up, cooling it down. That makes it so the wire is more malleable. Okay, I cut out a bunch of nothingness because I was looking for the nail polish. So I'm putting nail polish on the back of it, and the reason I'm doing that is because the stone is super see-through. So that's going to help make it so it stays that color. Because if you don't do that, what's going to happen is you're going to put it on something dark, and it's going to make the stone look darker, and then also you're going to see the silver behind it, and it's not exactly clean, so it's going to look blotchy. So we're going to start a new drinking game, and you guys can take a shot every time my roosters crow. Just kidding. Don't do that. I'll be so trashed by the end of this. Here we're just snipping it so that way it matches up correctly. I was probably a little bit off. I think we cut it earlier. Oh my gosh, these roosters. Sorry guys, there's not much I can do about them besides just wanting to hurt them. Okay, heating it up. Tapping it with the solder. You want to tap it when it gets that reddish color, but not like super, super red, if that makes sense. And I'm going to reapply that nail polish as many times as I can before we're done. Making sure it fits the shape of the stone. I don't know what size bezel wire this is because I just rolled it out. I didn't buy it. Hopefully I'll have the brain power tomorrow to make some videos on some different things like that. Like what kinds I do like to use when I do buy them. Maybe I should just order them so I can show you guys though. And I don't have them all on the top, like here, like examples of them. Maybe I'll do that. I've had people ask about the soldering block also, and that's just something I kind of came up with. The screws are just to help lift stuff up off the solder block so I can get underneath of it. And then the pan is just to kind of catch little things that fall off the desk and stuff. I did get burned really bad one time, so I actually had one of those washers on my desk there. It fell off my desk onto my lap or onto my seat, and I stood up real quick, but then I fell back down, and so it burned the back of my leg really, really bad. And then it fell off my leg onto the floor. So that's just kind of prevent to getting hurt, really. And then it does also help keep the desk a little bit cleaner because that solder block is on there. And that's just a piece of redwood. And then I just stuck some screws in it. I do burn it before using it for this. So you just take the torch and burn it a little bit. Just if you don't, it just is kind of smoky when you use it, and it doesn't smell too good. And then here we're just soldering, and as you can tell, I'm kind of getting underneath a little bit here and there. You want to make sure the whole thing is pretty heated pretty well. Just going all the way around, making sure that solder flows. I did put borax on it too. I don't know if it showed that. I went back and looked. I was like, did I just dunk it? Because I felt like I just didn't show it, but I did. And I just used borax as my flux. You don't have to go buy anything fancy. It's just borax and water. Little tip. A lot of places will sell it for like $16 for like a little jug, and you don't need to do that. Have a little space there. If I use hard solder on the joints, they wouldn't come apart as much as they do for me. I should probably start doing that more often. I'm just lazy. I get it mixed up and I just use what I have in front of me, which is actually more work, so use hard solder. I think for this one I actually am using hard solder because I had it on my desk. Quenched it and dried it off so you can touch it. There's still a little bit of a space, so I'm trying to get it close together. The solder is not going to flow if there's a space there, so that's why I'm trying to pull it together. Sometimes just bending that in a little bit will get it to go together. Here we're just picking out the beads that we're going to use and placing them. We want to do a bigger one and then smaller and then another smaller. A little trick, if you guys don't want the balls bouncing around when you're heating it up, is to add the heat slowly, because it'll be like that liquidy, and then it turns white, and then it turns black, and then it turns like kind of a liquidy again, the flux. So one thing that you can do is, like, when it starts turning white again, that's when you can start kind of adding more heat, and then it just kind of prevents those balls from bouncing around when they're when it's in that like liquid form. We always want to quench to make sure we don't burn ourselves. And then we're going to add the design work to the other side. That's just our borax flux mixture. I'm slowly adding that heat kind of far back, and then it turns the white and then turns the black. And then right as it starts turning that red, that's when you want to tap it. Here I'm just adding one more layer of that nail polish. Here we're just cutting around the design. You can use the little saws to cut around them also, but I don't like to use them, so I don't. But if you like to use them, you're more than welcome to use them. I always break them, so the little blades. So I just prefer not to use them at all. I just feel like they're super time consuming and I don't get any work done. Here we're just going around and cleaning up all the sharp edges. Obviously we don't want anyone getting hurt. There's always little jig-jag things and stuff like that, so you just want to clean that up. And then you'll see a line in between the bottom plate and the bezel, so I'm just making sure to get rid of that line also. All right, and I believe she wanted it as a 7, I think. So I'm cutting it to make it a 6 because then I can hammer it to make it bigger. You don't want to make it, like, cut it at a 7 because end up being more like an 8. There's always a little bit of slack around the ring, too. It's hard to get it, like, perfectly. So making it a size smaller and then hammering it to make it bigger. The snips that we're using, we're not going to cut it for this wire. This wire is super thick. But I have these other snips that, or I don't know what they're called. Wire cutters, I guess. Yeah. They just go straight through it. Makes life so much easier. Highly suggested to get a pair. If you plan on working with thicker silver, that is. Just bending it to make sure it matches up. You don't have to do that. Like I like just doing it like all the way together because one, I feel like it doesn't leave any sharp edges on the inside of the ring. And then it also just helps to make sure you're getting the right size. So personally, I like to do that. And I did hammer it to try to make sure that it was at 6 and not something bigger than that. Let's see, so making sure it would match up. Be the size we want it to be. Wow. Gotta love the roosters. Farm life. I recently got quail, and I would completely get rid of all my roosters and chickens just to have quail. That's the point I'm at. They're so much easier. I don't know why chickens have always been such like a farm life thing. I feel like quail should be more of a farm life necessity. They're so quiet. Then their crow is like cute. It's not loud and obnoxious and nonstop. So here we're just going around getting all the scratches out from the last little Dremel bit thing that we used. Third hands make life so much easier. I couldn't imagine working without a third hand. It's such a necessity. I like to put it on, like the ring on my finger and then scratch it so I know where to solder that band and what angle to solder it at. I did also record the ring that I'm wearing, the Wild Horse Turquoise ring. So I'll be editing that and posting that here soon. I'm just downloading the live off of TikTok and it's taking forever. So hopefully that is downloaded today. I wanted to edit it actually last night, like download that one and edit it last night. But I started the download process last night and it's still downloading. So that's why I'm like, maybe I should just still record them because that downloading process just takes forever. Just trying to line it up the best I can. Alright, and adding one last layer of that nail polish. This is a really quick drying nail polish, which is really nice. I always like to check it before setting the stone, make sure that there's not anything that I need to solder or edit or anything like that. Edit? Solder or change? I don't know what I'm talking about. It's too early for this. I like to stamp my rings after, so that way I know that the band's not going to cover the stamp or anything like that. It's just my way of doing it. You guys can do it whatever way, before, after, during, whenever you guys want. That's just how I like to do it, so I know it's not covered by anything and solder's not getting in the stamp and stuff like that. There's definitely like 1,000 different ways of silversmithing and doing different things. So if my way doesn't work for you guys, 100% do what does work for you. This is just Gorilla Glue. I like to put glue behind my stones, and I do that because it helps prevent the stones from wiggling around. I do set the stones kind of deep down, so I don't really have a lot of problems with the stones coming out. The glue's not to prevent the stone from falling out. I'm sure it probably does help a little bit, but it's mostly just so it doesn't wiggle around. I wasn't going to put shavings behind this, and then I think I ended up doing it because I had so normally if I didn't put the nail polish, you'd see the shavings behind it, and you'd see like that black stuff on the ring. So that's why I put the shavings behind it, or I put the shavings behind it to help lift the stone up, because it was kind of sitting lower than what I want. So just pushing. I like to push the bezel wire out before putting the stone in also, because then it helps get that stone out easier too. So like if you see there where the bezel wire is like super high. So yeah, so pushing that bezel wire out helps it, so that way if you need to get the stone in and out, you can without wanting to pull your hair out along with the stone. You can do other things like, dental floss under the stone, things like that, but one less thing on my desk is always nice, personally, for me. Might as well just push it out and then you can push it back. Sometimes I still struggle with getting it out. But for the most part, it helps a lot. So here we're just pushing that bezel wire in. And so if you start on one side of the ring, you want to go to another side of the ring. I do try to start on the edges for the most part. It just helps it sit, like go together better. I don't know how to describe that. Just helps make it look cleaner, I guess. It could be hard to get those little corners right there without ripping the silver. I've definitely ripped it, and it's like, no, because you have to start over or try to fix it. And sometimes trying to fix things can be a real headache. I'm not hammering hard on this part right here, too, guys. Like, very, very lightly, like, basically letting the hammer do its own thing, not hitting it hard. I've definitely broke stones doing that. I'm not worried about it with this stone, because this is actually a man-made stone. It's kind of I think it's an epoxy. I don't really know. I don't know how to make them. I wish I knew how to make them, because they're super expensive to buy. So if anyone knows how to make them, send me your recipe. Because I use them a lot. I really like this stone. It's a really cool stone. It's a really pretty stone. Has a lot of colors in it. They're super popular too. They're fun to play with. My hands have been hurting a lot lately, so that's why I'm kind of using this tool a little bit more. Trying to not put so much pressure on my hands and put more pressure on using tools and stuff like that. I've actually been doing a lot better that I was doing a lot of pendants, and so I kind of backed off on doing pendants, and I started doing more rings. I think if I bought some softer, like actually bought bezel wire, it'd probably help too. Because the wire I'm using is harder to work with. So I do not do this with any other stone, just so you guys know. This is the only stone I do this with. It's pretty soft for the most part, so cleaning it and stuff like that makes it really easy. I'm just sanding on that stone to make it kind of more level and just kind of flow with that ring a little bit better. There's also some little nicks in that stone, so it wasn't like a completely finished cabochon. So I'm just basically finishing up that stone there. I like to do that with a lot of these stones that the Aurora Opal. I just cleaned up that edges a little bit more. I think there was still quite a deep. Yeah, I'm gonna go back in with I forget what these things are called. Back in with this one though and try to get that line right there a little bit better. You want to be careful with those because you don't obviously want to burn a hole through the silver. But you can usually, for the most part, get them out. Sometimes the terminal attachments come loose a little bit. Sometimes you do have to go back in and redo things a little bit. When you just don't think, or you think that you got it all the way, but sometimes you don't.
You can experiment and play around with different attachments also and see what works best for you. I use all my attachments on a low setting also. Sometimes with the polishing, I'll bump it up to like kind of a medium, but you never want to do like, in my opinion, I don't ever do them on a really aggressive setting. That way you can just have a little bit more control over what you're working on. And if you guys like watching these videos, I do have a cabochon subscription kit, because this does take a long time for me to download and to edit. This is a 55-minute video, so if you guys subscribe to that, it helps me to be able to post more of these videos. Preferably I'd like to be able to like make one thing a day and be able to edit it and post it kind of thing. But obviously this is time consuming, so financially we're not there yet. I'm doing the best I can to try to get as many up, but it takes a long time to edit them and get them up. But if you guys subscribe over to the cabochon subscription kits, then it helps me to be able to post more of these videos, because then I'm not like I need to make so many things a day and do custom orders and all that kind of stuff. And another thing also is that we're doing a giveaway right now, and so I'm going to do a $50 like a month subscription. It's going to be a one-time monthly subscription giveaway, and that's either for jewelry or cabochons. And that's if you guys are following me here and over on TikTok. So follow me over on both platforms and you'll be entered to win. I also had someone ask if I've ever done a raffle. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know, because I'd be interested in doing a raffle. I could do either stones or jewelry or $100 towards something. I don't know. Kind of think that would be a lot of fun too. And with the subscriptions, guys, like I could easily do subscriptions on this kind of stuff, on the videos themselves. And with the stones, I really want it so that way you guys are getting something for that money that you're spending, and you can turn around and make money on that, and then that helps you guys to keep going. I constantly have people asking me where I get my stones from, which I don't really tell a lot of people where I get my stones from, because one, that's where I get my stones from. I need those stones. Two, I do add it in my silversmithing kit. And if you guys don't know, I have a silversmithing kit that is available for purchase over on my website. And same with the subscriptions, they're over on my website also, brandedandwild.com. I have a list of where I get my stones in that, what gauge wire I purchase, and where I buy my wires from. So that's kind of an extra benefit of purchasing that. So that's kind of something I don't want to just hand out for free personally. Like there's some things that are not beneficial to me to do, because obviously like my stone people, I'm not going to be able to get my hands on my stones if I do that. And in last month's mystery stone subscription, I tried to make sure everyone got lightning bolts. This ring here I sold for $150, and that was just one stone out of, I don't know, like I think it was like 5, or I go from anywhere from like 5 to 8 stones. In the subscription it says 5 stones, but I usually do more than that, especially if I have smaller stones, which some of the stones my goodness, purchased were a little bit smaller than I expected. So yeah, I added more stones to that subscription. And we got Larimar, they had turquoise, they had malachite, tiger's eye, lots of goodies. The Aurora Opal lightning bolts. And like I said, that's over on my website, Branded and Wild. Here we're just polishing, just go all the way around. I use Fabuloster to polish, making sure to go all the way around that stone. After I go all the way around the stone, I will take it to my sink, wash it off with soap and water, and use a toothbrush to scrub it. There were still some little scratches in it, so I wanted to go back in and clean those up a little bit. Like I said earlier, sometimes you have to go back in with different attachments to really get whatever it is out until you basically find one that gets it the way you want it to look. I think I'm going to go back and, I'm going to go back in and polish it using that Fabuluster again. I think I bumped it up to like a medium speed. I do make sure to polish that stone really well, especially with this one, because I did earlier on sand on it. So when you sand on something like that, you want to make sure to polish it. And like I said, I do not do that with any other stone, just this type of stone. So don't go do it on turquoise or something like that and expect to be able to polish it out with this type of polishing brush. It's not how you do it. I have a cab machine, so I do cab stones. So I do all that kind of stuff before I set it with natural stones. This is not a natural stone, so that's why I was able to do that with this stone. Alright, and here's the finished product. We have a lightning bolt. Customer is super happy with it. She is so excited to get it. I have not mailed it out yet. I'm going to do that today. Here I'm just going through and cleaning it up a little bit better. Sometimes that polishing compound will get in like the little cracks and stuff like that. I feel like it does it a little bit more with the Aurora Opal than it does with other stones. But just going through trying to clean it up. I might go, before I send it off, I'll probably go back through with like a polishing brush, but without any polishing compound on it, and I feel like that really helps get it off really well. I didn't show that yet. Didn't show that in the video because I haven't done it yet. And I'm going to get this up and posted, so. That actually got a lot of it off, it looks like, too. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will be doing, editing the ring on the middle finger there and posting that up, but this is pretty much it for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and go check out those subscription kits. Like I said, it really helps me be able to come on here and post more videos. Have a good day, guys. Bye.